Hello and welcome to lesson number 8 from How to Read Music. In today's lesson we're going to go into more depth about the other Gs on the ledger notes. So we're going to do the note names on the ledger and the piano for the treble and bass clefs, all for the G notes. So we've got more music notation and more note names. Note names on the piano, the staff, and connecting the two together. Again, if you have any questions or get stuck, don't just sit there twiddling your thumbs. Please do ask for help. Post a message or a video onto the Facebook members group and I'll get back to you during the week, morning or evening. Okay, now we've got the treble clef and the bass clefs for the Gs. So I've got the piano keyboard photo here on the video, and in black I'm showing the middle, the G just above middle C, closest to middle C. And then the note which is coloured in red is the G which is an octave above that G that sits right on the G clef. Yes, you will recall that the treble clef has another name, and the other name for the treble clef is the G clef. Now I've got here, I've coloured in a note green, and this is the G note which is an octave below the G that sits on the G clef. So on the next slide, I've got the staff. I've got the two staffs, the treble clef and bass clef, rotated around, and then I've got the piano keyboard. So, and here I've indicated middle C with a grey circle, and then I've got the G which sits on the G clef further up, and that's coloured in black. And then the note on the left-hand side, which is sitting on the bass clef, is the B, which is just below the G that sits on the G clef. It's all it's all sounds rather strange, doesn't it? But do hang in there. Now, in this next photo, I'm showing all the Gs here from the treble clef. So we've got the G which sits on the G clef itself, and then we have a G which is coloured in red, which is exactly an octave above that G, that sits just on top of the fifth ledger line in its own space. And then just below middle C, we have the G, which is an octave below the G from the treble clef, G clef. And then an octave below that, we've got the other G. So what you can notice is that the G that sits on the G clef is on the second ledger line on the treble clef. And then if you go to the very bottom ledger line on the bass clef, that's where we have the G, which is 2 octaves below. Now, and then if you go back to the treble clef, you've got a G in the coloured red that sits above the fifth ledger line, and that's 1 octave above the G from the G clef. And you'll notice that if you go just down below middle C, you'll see the other G, which is coloured in green, and this is just on the top space. That's just below the fifth ledger line from the bass clef. So if you look at the pattern, it's almost like they've just moved down one. So for example, you've got in the treble clef, you've got the G in black, coloured black, sitting on the second ledger key. Well, if you go and look at the bass clef, you've got the G coloured in purple sitting on the first ledger clef. So it's like it's jumped down from, instead of being on the second ledger clef, second ledger line, it's jumped down to the first ledger line. Now, yes, I've just got here the piano keyboard photo on the video, and I've just talked about the green, and here I'm talking about the note coloured in red being an octave above the G from the G clef, and then the note coloured purple being 2 octaves below the G from the G clef. And so here we have another photo of all the Gs. So what you need to do is just to get in, you can see it's sort of the pattern is even really from the right hand side to the left hand side, even intervals. So because we're talking in terms of octaves, you've got always at all times eight notes between each of these notes. Well, 7 notes between each, but 8 notes counting them. So we have the notes on the piano keyboard and the notes on the stab, and I've used the arrows to sort of roughly coordinate them together. So do take a look at this, get familiar with it. And I have an exercise here for you to do at home. What I need you to do is to draw your own staff with a treble clef, and then draw the circles on there. So draw your treble clef, G clef. Draw the note on the second ledger line, which is the G from the G clef. Draw another note which is just above the fifth ledger line, and that's your if you colour it in red. If you've got felt tip pens and pencils, do colour them in the colours. Now that's going to be one octave above that G clef. Then if you go and draw another staff with a bass clef on it, put the draw your next G on the fourth space, which is an octave below the G from the G clef, and then draw another note on the first ledger line of the bass clef, which is 2 octaves below the G from the treble clef. Also draw your own piano. You know how to do that by now easily, and then draw some circles to draw your notes on them, and then write the letter names underneath the notes. Use arrows and connect the piano to the staff that you've drawn, and take photos of these. Do this within the next 5 days. Make 2 drawings, and then post this up to the Facebook group so that I can keep track of what you've done. And make sure you do this before you move on to the next lesson. So do the work, make it real. Draw the notes on the staff, mark them with the corresponding letter names, practice going through the 4 Gs, the 2 in the treble clef and the 2 in the bass clef. Draw your keyboard, name the keys with the corresponding letter name, draw a line to match these keys to the notes of your staff, and you're there. That brings you to the end of lesson number 8. Congratulations. And I shall see you in the next lesson. Thank you for your time.